Welcome to I Support Your Business show with your host and host Mithyll. Oops, not Mithyll, Swarna. Wondering why? You will come to know. This podcast is made exclusively to share the journey of our fellow community members of I Support Your Business Indo-Canadian community to the world. The main aim of our community is to practice the power of giving, facilitate collaborations and partnerships, and help connect people on a global platform. So now you may wonder why the host and host today is Swarna, because today's guest is none other than Mithyll himself. Before we start off, I'm Swarna, a creative writer, co-founder of VIH Tribes community, and the founder of Dastan Media. I'm a creative writer who helps brands build and also who gives words to your thoughts. So let's start off with Mithyll, who is our content alchemist and also the president of ISYB community. Hello, Mithyll.
Hi Swarna,
How are you?
I am super excited and I'm top of the world right now.
How does it feel to be answering instead of questioning people?
The tables have turned.
Yes. Just for this episode, don't worry. Cool. So, to start with, before we get into your journey as an alchemist, content alchemist, podcaster, and blah, 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 let's first start what Mithyll has been as a kiddo and what is your backstory before you turned this content expert?
Surely. So Swarna, I come from a very humble background. I am born and brought up in Mumbai, took birth in a Brahmin family, if I have to say, and so kind of religious and spiritual from the beginning, as well as the roots for the Sanatani Dharma is there from the start.
Okay.
Stayed in a very close family, and I'm proudly I can say I'm from Mumbai 16, which is the pin code, Mumbai Sola, what we say. And yes, I am a person from born and brought up in a chawl concept where
Okay.
there were many houses. The whole building was kind of like a big family. So 54 families were there in that same building, and everyone were there supporting each other. So the concept of community, I was able to see right from the beginning. My
Okay.
father was into sales, and he always wanted me to be a part of sales. Somehow, I was not connected at that time to sales, because I always wondered, he was a science grad, worked and studied from BARC, yet why is he in sales? Later on I will share why I became why I came into sales. So yes, my mother was first an homemaker, and eventually she also became an insurance agent and a financial planner. Had a sister, lived with my grandmom, and my pet Comet, a mixed breed of German Shepherd and Golden Retriever. So these were the five people who used to stay in a small house. Uh, Schooling was really good, so I studied in Matunga Premier School, which is in the other central side of Matunga. And cricket was something which was very passionate to me, and was badminton, but was always, because my school was way far from where I used to stay. So neither I was able to connect with those friends over there, because evening time was not possible. Approximately 7 kilometers was what my distance was from the school. So yes, that was practically not possible for me. So neither the friends in the building connected to me, because they went to the same school, and I was the only person who was different. So then started the journey of solitude and going within, and kind of exploring various skills that I thought would help me eventually. So that was all about me. Got to know more inclination towards science and astronomy at that time, and ventured and got uh, joined a club called as Nehru Science Center Astronomy Club, and that's where I learned how to make telescopes and was more connected to a lot of planets and space related things. So that's all about me in the childhood phase.
Interesting. So the sense of community has always been there in your head subconsciously.
Absolutely.
But unlike most of the cases in Indian scenario, when you come from a middle class or an upper middle class background, most of the times the career plan is set. Have a dedicated job, have a nice 9 to 5 job where there is like a plan. There is a 5 years plan. Start, stay in a company, move, 50% hike, 30% hike, grow like that. Build your bank balance, get married. So that is how the general path is. But looks like you never wanted to be, or you didn't choose that. So what made you, what was life before you took that leap, or was the start itself the leap that, I want to be on my own and I want to be an entrepreneur?
So, Swarna, one of my aunt was a principal of the school, and there always used to be a competition between me and one of my cousin sisters because we both were of the same age. So
Okay.
the ranking wise, the marks wise, there was always comparison. And then that aunt used to always tell her and me. And then when my turn came, she used to tell me, Mithyll, you're not scoring good. What is going to happen? You're not going to get good job. But that, when I was in 8th standard, that's when I told my aunt finally, after listening for so many years, that I would be writing checks. I don't want to be doing a job. I'll be doing a business. And that's when my neighbor uncle was kind of a businessman, and I could see him uh, doing a lot of trading of stuffs. And he told me, there is a lot of profit margin and this and that. And that always kind of created a curiosity in me, like what is beyond science. Of course, I don't want to be into commerce, but what is beyond science and how can I do that? So in that way, what happened was I eventually ventured not primarily to become an entrepreneur, but started doing something like a side hustle because my father always used to hammer me with this idea, Mithil, you're supposed to be independent. Mithil, you're supposed to be independent. And that's when I thought, how can I be independent right now? Okay, after graduation, post graduation, it is fine. So that's when I started taking tuitions. I One of the passion thing was Crawford Market was a very big wholesale market in Mumbai. So each year during May and June, before the school used to start, almost every Mumbaiker used to go there and buy the goods which were related to the school. And that's when I came across perfumes, deos, and I could see that, oh my god, these are the things that are so lucrative, people love it. And I used to buy it at 80 rupees and I used to sell it 220, 240 rupees, and I was like, oh my god, this is something cool. And that's how the seeds of entrepreneurship was kind of imbibed during that time. But one thing that I realized, I had made a science project. It was a revolving uh, solar system. And one of the tuition teachers where I used to go to learn, she was fascinated with that particular project and she said, I want to buy this. And I said, okay, fine, 2,500 rupees, I'll sell it to you. So more or less it was for 500 rupees materials, but then I sold it for 2,500 rupees. And that's when I realized that it's not the cost of the materials, but it is the hard work cost that has to be defined, which makes you kind of bring the value that to the particular product. And that's when I said, like, this is a fascinating world, but whether it is for me or not, I don't know. Let's see how it would be. So that's how I thought, and again ventured into the world of science because that was something that fascinated me. And in college I then went into science. But the thing that I had learned in the telescope, and that we call it in India, that kida, that worm,
Mm,
that once you get to know that you start earning money, then you always want more of that. And that's how
true.
what I used to do was, next to Crawford Market, there is another market where you get, this called as Dawa Bazaar, where you get lenses. So I used to bring all those convex lens and concave lens, and I started building telescopes. And for the first time, I sold approximately 32 telescopes in my college. And you won't believe, Swarna, for the next 5 years of my college education, I paid the fees from those telescopes. So that's when for the first time, my father was very proud and he said, like, now you have become independent. Now you can be, even if you are put in any situation, you will be able to come out of it. So kudos for
Correct.
that. And that's how I started.
Okay, so from having this business acumen since day one, or being able to market or convert things that are saleable, Instead of starting a product based company or starting a product based business, you chose to venture into something which is a service oriented market, building a community like VIH tribes or becoming a coach is different from because when you're selling a telescope or when you're selling a product, it is tangible, you can see it, you can feel it, you know how it works, you know how it will perform, you know if there is a problem where to go for repair. But how would you do that in a service entity? So when did this decision happen that you want to get into becoming a coach to start with?
Okay. So as I told you in my childhood journey that I belong to a Brahmin family. So I was reading particular books, spiritual books, and that's when something came across which says like there is a reason that you have taken birth in this particular family or in this particular religion. So you need to kind of respect that, abide it, and kind of go ahead. And that's when I realized Brahmins have always been teachers, have been coaches. And I always wanted to kind of teach because eventually my father from sales, but was throughout, he was a mathematics professor, he was a teacher. So that's how I kind of got the idea of teaching. And I clearly remember it was my first year in college, 13 standard. And one of the zoology teacher was teaching about Big Bang theory, and it was a textual thing, but since I had gone way ahead into the astronomical world, I kind of, the way in Three Idiots, uh, you know this guy,
Amir Khan.
the Amir Khan, so he kind of challenged Viru Sahasra Buddhe about education. So did I kind of raised my hand and I said, ma'am, what you're teaching is wrong. And in
Okay.
a class of 70 students, it was a pin drop silence. And she was like, Mithil, if I am teaching wrong, why don't you come on the stage and teach? And I, with the whole blackboard with chalk, I built the whole Big Bang theory, the whole diagram, and I kind of showed and taught everyone for the next 45 minutes what is Big Bang theory. That day she became my fan, but then that was not the objective. The objective was whatever you do, please do justice in that. That is what
Correct.
I wanted. And so that's when I realized that there is a lot of gap between education. So initially ventured, uh, after my graduation, I okay sorry during the same year I got an opportunity to be a corporate trainer, and I
Okay.
kind of ventured into insurance and sales. So that's when the beginning of the sales and the sales tricks came into
Mm,
action. So was introduced into ICICI Prudential as branch trainer, and for the
mm.
next 3 years, along with my college, so morning used to be college and evening I used to go and deliver my classes. So that's how I started my journey as a corporate trainer and was kind of shaped and kind of mentored in a way where how a trainer is supposed to teach. And that's when I was introduced to the world of sales because we were teaching insurance, which is one of the most difficult product to sell. Came
Same.
across Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, who are like known as the
Masters.
great masters of sales. So that's how I kind of started fascinating into that, and then I started reading a lot of books. So the day when I got graduated, I had my job ready immediately. So the company had told like we need graduate to become an employee. So at that time I was still a consultant with us. So I was like, yes, I want to do it. And that's when after graduation I started my journey as a job. So after ICICI Prudential, I ventured into Max New York Life, and that's when I kind of learned more professionally because Max New York Life is known as a proper company which kind of does coaching in the right way. But unfortunately, 2008, 2009, 2010 was when the global economy came into hit, and many of the departments of many of the companies were kind of laid off, and I was one of them. That day I realized that I should not kind of give my life into the hands of the boss because in the next 2 months I was going to get married, and the company told me, here is your 2 months salary, you can walk out. So that's when I decided, no, next time I'm not going to give my life into the hands of the boss. I would be the boss. It's okay. It will take some time. And that's how, that was the day when I started the journey of entrepreneurship because I had one woman standing with me telling me, Mithil, it's okay. I am there with you no matter what. And So I'm always grateful to Neha, who's my wife, that she always stood next to me till today and forever. That yes, whatever happens, I am still there with you. So and
Awesome.
entrepreneurship is not an easy task. It's a roller coaster ride,
Absolutely.
and you need the support
Absolutely.
of your family.
I know. No, that's where my next question peeps in. Like, yes, because it's a difficult journey. So, what I was saying is, see, when you are starting a business that is product based, okay, yes, there is a huge risk because the initial investments are high. But when you decide to become an entrepreneur where your mind is your investment, yes, your initial investment in terms of money is less, but the scope of building that is also very difficult, especially in a time where coaching or training is considered like a burden. People used to have these mandatory trainings in corporates because it reflects in your KRA, it reflects in your appraisals. So people used to just sit. They are not interested to, I wouldn't say interested. It is a forced business, used to be a forced business. So how was it to establish yourself as a coach, and what were the initial problems that you faced when you had to position yourself as a coach or a mentor?
Okay. So Swana, as I told you, like during the childhood and again when I was growing up, I had very almost no friends, and that's how I made books as my friend. So I consider one of the book which kind of built me what I am today. So the very first book that I read was Alchemist, and that was about following your dream and going towards your destiny. But the second book, which I kind of got it from one of the Raddiwalas, and I'm really grateful that I got that book. It's a book called as How to Win Friends and Influence People. So when I read that book, I was like completely glued to it, and I even today I kind of always go back and I kind of refresh myself into it. So when I totally agree with you that in corporate it was kind of like a mandatory thing for employees to kind of go undergo those trainings, and they were like, okay, that's kind of a vacation or kind of a holiday thing for us where we'll go, we'll sit and kind of give our attendance and come back, because we are more focused towards our target that we are supposed to achieve. And especially when it comes to insurance, it's all about sales and it's all about target. And going to training for even the boss is like, why Mithyll, just give attendance, let them go out, it's all about business. And I thought, after watching again Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, and all those people, I realized something has to change. Like, this is not right. And I started making my trainings more interesting. I invested again in books which taught me how to make trainings more better. So there is another book for trainers, which says Games Trainer Play. So I used to kind of gamify a lot of things in the training, and people eventually the name started going across, and people used to wait for my trainings, like in the kind of a mail when Mithyll is going to take the trainings. And that's how I sort of thought, yes, I'm now doing justice to my job. And that's how slowly and steadily the name started going in. But then I realized one thing, Swarna, was again I am teaching those people, especially employees, and doing everything. But somehow, uh, since things were restricted because the need was restricted, I couldn't do justice to the corporates. Why? Because they wanted only X thing. And I realized, no, the curriculum cannot just have an X thing, because those people, I can see that they need Y, they need Z, and that also has to be inculcated into the curriculum. But unfortunately, they didn't allow. So then I realized, no, I don't think I should go to the corporate kind of a coaching, and I should go into the individual coaching. And that's how slowly and steadily I shifted my focus from corporate training to solo trainings, and where I started focusing on to a very niche oriented coaching exclusively for solopreneurs, artists, and coaches, because I realized those are the people who need the training the most, and they are the ones who are almost lost and have no idea, because they are kind of bombarded with a lot of things.
So how How was this transition and how different was it to coach solopreneurs, individuals? How different was it from a mass training to being into a one-to-one or a more dedicated, dedicated space of training? And how and what made you expand the horizon of topics that you train?
Okay. So what I did, Swarna, was I had realized at the early stage that you need to invest into yourself, because the more you will invest in your mindset and you will improve your skills, you will go ahead. So first thing that I learned was creating content. So I started in 2012. 2008 I started as a blogger, and 2012 I started as a YouTuber. And when it comes to YouTubing, you need to learn a very important skill called as video editing. So I first learned again on, I went to the YouTube university itself and I learned video editing from YouTube itself. And that made me realize, exposed to many softwares and everything. So what I did, I started documenting that these are the challenges that I have, and I'm a solopreneur. So exactly these are going to be the same problems my customers are going to have. So that's how I started
Correct.
at the initial stage. This is what we say: your make your mess is your message, is what I say.
Correct.
This is what you should do. Whatever mess you were in was eventually going to become your message. And that's how I started this journey. And in 2016 I realized that there is a concept of podcasting which is so hot in the Western world. I wish it would be in India. But then fortunately I got an access and I was able to learn podcasting, and I started my podcast channel and started interviewing a lot of foreigners per se. So there were two of my accountable partners, and both of them started scolding me like, Mithil, don't waste so much time in podcasting. You are not going to earn anything, because in India there is no monetization opportunity for podcast. Don't do it. I want to do it. This is my inner call. I want to do it. And that's how, from documenting the questions to taking the interviews, all those questions were the ones which kind of, I started creating a collection and kind of created a resource. And it's very much important in today's world, whether you are a solopreneur or whether you are running a startup company. Everyone has a customer. So you need to understand that why this customer wants this, and you need to kind of document that journey, which is the core of it. So started understanding the pattern, and then came across one of the mentor who kind of brought revolution in India with respect to e-learning. Everyone knows about him, and that's how I kind of learned from him about e-learning, and I'm grateful that he taught me that. But one thing that I realized, coming from a, because the journey of entrepreneurship is not easy, and I didn't have that much money at that time to invest into Facebook ads. So I realized, what is the another way to do it? And unfortunately, even if I tried running Facebook ads, in 3 months Facebook kind of closed my ad account without giving any justification, and I could not retrieve that account again. And then I kind of went into the path of organic marketing, because I had to survive. I had to kind of feed my family, and I learned tricks and tricks
True.
about organic marketing. And that's when I realized, oh my god, this is a complete different world altogether. And if you can teach this to people, sky's the limit. And that's how started the journey. Second thing that I did,
Okay.
Swarna, was whenever I used to do coaching, I made people fill a lot of different types of forms, because that kind of
Okay.
became a database for me. And I understood
Hmm.
what they want rather than what I want to sell. And that's how I kind of
Okay.
kept on tweaking and sculpting a kind of a way for people. And that's how people kind of became very happy, because they got what they wanted, and then I got what I
True.
wanted. So
True.
that's the formula that I followed.
Okay. Now, from being a coach to setting up a content lab, VIH Tribes, how did that happen?
Okay. So one of the another mentor who I came across, Russell Brunson. So he is kind of the co-founder of ClickFunnels, and I was undergoing one of the course called as One Funnel Away Challenge. So I learned about sales funnels and everything. And at the end of the sales funnel, I realized that the end of the sales funnel is only sales and marketing. After that, people go away. And then I was learning about service industry, and it's about customer service. Later on, I realized and I kind of foresighted that community is something which is going to be very much important, because it's very easy to sell to your existing customers rather than kind of creating a new customer,
Finding new.
finding new customer. So if I can create a community, a place where people can be together, support each other, as well as kind of grow together, I think that's going to be wonderful. And that's when I created VIH Tribe. So VIH Tribe stands for Video Influencer Hub, and tribe stands for community. So it's a community of people who loves to make videos, loves to influence, and they are kind of in a hub. So that's make it VIH Tribe community. Content is something which is very close to me, and lab is something which is because content creates magic. Whether you are a witch or a wizard, you create content and you kind of mesmerize people. So lab is something where you go and experiment and you come up with a
Correct.
product. So that's how it became VIH Tribe Content Lab.
Okay. So, but nowadays, with so much information and so much data available online, what was how much sure, or how what was your gut feeling that you thought that setting up an exclusive content lab for content creators or to create content would be feasible?
I was scared, first of all, because I wanted to experiment. And this is something that I will tell everyone. If you're an entrepreneur, please experiment. So, the more you experiment, the more you will get to know. So, either you can invest, hire a coach, and follow that coach blindly, and
Hmm.
kind of do what he or she is guiding you, because that's very much important. So I kind of surrendered myself to Russell Brunson and Siddharth Rajshekar, and both of them kind of guided me what I needed to do, and I kind of followed it blindly. But I also kept my intuition very strong, and that's when I realized community is something which is very much important. And I saw that even both of them are also building their own communities, and it's very much important.
Hmm.
So then I
Hmm.
thought they are, but they are not teaching it right away. They're teaching it maybe later, because I can understand that they want people to first understand and connect the dots. And at the end of the
Hmm.
dot is the community. And that's how I realized and I saw the pattern when I started coaching one to one a lot of people. And now till today, I have taught more than 80,000 people, documented their one to ones, and I realized a pattern. People want only five things, which I kind of created a concept called as five pillar principle.
Hmm.
So these are the five things that you're supposed to do, and it is set. So the first principle is content, second is traffic, third is lead generation, fourth is sales marketing, and fifth is community building. And then the cycle
Okay.
starts again. Because when you build,
Continues.
yeah, because when the community is there, the community will ask you different questions. Now, Swana, you and me, we are running a community, right? People do ask us questions. We want this. We are stuck here.
Absolutely.
Again, what we do, we create a new content. Now that content resonates with some other traffic, and that's how they
Hmm.
also come
Hmm.
to our community. So this is what is the cycle, and
Okay.
this is the most easiest organic cycle anyone can follow.
Okay. Okay. So now with VIH tribes in your, in your kitty or being your passion project, what is the way forward for VIH tribes?
Okay, so first and foremost, VI Stripe Content Lab is not just a community where we are just coaching, but we are also kind of bringing the concept of networking, also bringing a concept of focus group, accountability, productivity, as well as giving them the right resources so that they don't have to go so many places kind of gathering those things. So we are kind of creating an ecosystem for the people so that they get to know everything what they want, and that I had already done in the past, but everything was scattered. And with you coming and joining hands with me, I realized that now we both complement each other and we can do wonders. And that's when we kind of both started this thing. And I'm really glad and grateful to you for accepting my invitation to be a co-founder over here. Thank you.
Why not? It has. I had to be part of it, no, to make it more engaging and to be a part of a good journey. It's always a pleasure. So, huh. But then, do you? Now as a community head who runs his own community, uh, have you also figured out that because you have been part of many communities, I myself have been part of many communities. It is a known fact that retaining people or keeping them engaged in a community is very difficult. What is your take, not just only as a community head, but as a solopreneur and as a coach? How do you think, or where do you think communities or tribes as such, all these social communities are lacking when it comes to keeping their members engaged?
Okay. First and foremost is documenting the journey of also building a community. What happens is each community has a different mission and a vision, and that's how they kind of go ahead. When it comes to
Hmm.
again ISYB, the core principle is I support your business. So we as a community, we kind of give the platform to the people where we want to support them. So the ideology of I
Hmm.
support your business is to support and kind of help.
Hmm.
Then you and me are also part of another community called as BHX, where it's all about brainstorming and again kind of helping each other. Then we have many other communities where it is exclusively network oriented. So that's how the things are. So each community has a vision. uh, One thing that I have realized is that the founders of the communities, if they are true to that vision and they continue consistently to keep that thing with them, as well as innovate everything different, keeping that core idea in place, that's when they will be always standing different from the rest of the people. Unfortunately, automation is something that is not brought into the communities so much. Gamification is something that lacks in many communities, as well as need based rather than concept based is also very much crucial over here. Yes, we keep on, and that's when again, when it comes to engagement, this is where things kind of lag, because after some time the community member kind of stops connecting with the message of the community, because that's where the gap is. If that gap is filled, that person will be kind of a raving fan for this community for a very long time.
Brilliant. Before we sign off, I want you to tell me the five things or the five skills or the five mandates anybody should have if they wish to become an entrepreneur.
Okay, first is passion. So you need to be passionate enough to support that idea as to why you started. Second is
Okay.
the why. You need to have your why strong. If your why is strong, you will be kind of creating a culture. I won't say cult kind of goes into negative, but you need to create a culture and an ecosystem. Third is your why and your passion makes you become more consistent in taking actions. Fourth is visibility and marketing. You need to learn
Hmm.
how to make yourself visible, because trust me, only you will be doing yourself this favor. No one else is going to do that unless you created impact into the minds of people, and that's when the world of word of mouth publicity came into action. Fifth is be true to yourself, be authentic, and commit to give the right thing to the people. So these are the five things minimum that you need to have to kind of go ahead as an entrepreneur. One more thing I would like to
Okay.
add is learn as many skills as you can. I understand you can outsource, but trust me, if you know those skills, you can do much wonders than the rest of the people.
Absolutely. That I agree. And thank you for those five mandates. Then in that case, I want to just close it by asking that what do you think is that two things that makes Mithyll as an entrepreneur different from others?
I understand the need of the person. I don't go and sell anyone. I help them buy. So I only
Okay.
tell them anything if there is a need for it. If I feel like, no, I don't think you need to purchase this particular thing, I bluntly tell them, please don't buy this. It's available here. You just go and just do it. Many people tell me, Mithil, you are stupid. You are mad. You don't
Mm,
know
mm,
business. Well, it's not always business. Please understand, you entrepreneur, the definition is to solve a particular problem, but does not mean every time you have to monetize it. Where is
Hmm.
humanity? You need to also help them. If you're going
Hmm.
to take money for each and everything, then I don't think friendship should exist,
True.
relationship should exist. So yes, you need to first build relationship with your client,
Correct.
and always give. The second thing that I do is I kind of give 10x of what I get. So whatever I take as a charge or a fee, I try my level best to give them 10 times about that, so that at least they kind of remember me in their prayers.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for that insightful and very personal story. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs will take their lessons from this show, from this episode. On that note, you have just listened to I Support Your Business show with your host for this episode, Swarna. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving us so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcast or Spotify. This is Swarna signing off at the moment. Until next time. Meet you soon with another member and their exciting stories. But until then, keep smiling and stay safe. Thank you.